Asian Aviation Magazine News Podcast. I'm Matt Driscoll reporting from Singapore. The year 2016 promises to be a year of changes for the airline industry in Asia, with China's airline market growing at breakneck speed, Southeast Asia continuing to be a hotspot for low-cost carriers, and here at Asian Aviation Magazine, we plan to bring you all that news, plus some additional digital offerings like this weekly podcast and a new focus on our website, our Facebook page, and our Twitter feed. So be sure to check us out on the web, on Facebook, and, of course, on Twitter. This past week, Airbus kicked off the news year with its annual press conference, and for the first time, it was held in Paris instead of at its headquarters in Toulouse. President and CEO Fabrice Bregier reported the company put in a strong commercial performance last year, and he outlined some new initiatives to help it compete against Boeing. He highlighted the company's new plant that opened in Mobile, Alabama. He talked about the company's new digital technology drive to not only cut paperwork, but to take advantage of all the data the company collects, and he also promised to work more closely with technology leaders in Silicon Valley in the United States. The company has already opened new technology centers in Bangalore in India, in Hamburg in Germany, and at headquarters in Toulouse. Bregier said the company in 2015 delivered its highest ever number of jetliners, with 635 shipped to customers, and also had a record industry year-end backlog of 6,787 aircraft. This year, Airbus hopes to deliver more than 650 aircraft to its customers, so let's hear what he has to say.
I'll start telling you that for me and for Airbus 2015 was a great year because how do we measure it? We measure it trying to compare with what we targeted at the beginning of the year, and we achieved or overachieved most of our objectives. First of all, in terms of deliveries, so we have delivered 6 aircraft more than last year, so 635 aircraft, and this is also supported by the first ramp-up of the A350. We're very pleased to deliver the first one at the very end of 2014, and we have delivered 14 of these aircraft to 4 customers this year. The target was 15. I'll come back to that. Regarding the A380, a big milestone was to become financially break-even in 2015, and this is, again, what we achieved, delivering 27 aircraft last year. The book-to-bill, you will see that a bit later, was greater than 1.5, which means that we continue to consolidate a huge order book. The 330 was a challenge. It's always a challenge when we transition from one program to the other. And we had announced a transition at a minimum of 6 aircraft a month. And this is now what we can confirm, as we got additional orders, close to 100 A330ceos on big markets like Saudi and especially China. And this one allows us, after that, to prepare the transition between the CEO and the NEO very smoothly. We have already an international setup with our Tianjin final assembly line, and we have extended it. Probably the most visible element of it was the opening ceremony in September of our new A320 final assembly line in Mobile, in Alabama, in the United States. And so we'll be the only manufacturer able to produce aircraft from the 3 continents: China, Asia, America, and of course, Europe.
In that soundbite, you heard Bregier talk about the important moves the company is making in China, where the A320 final assembly line at Tianjin delivered 50 aircraft in 2015. The company has extended its plans for the plant for 10 years and said it may extend those further. He also said Airbus is moving ahead with plans for the plant's new cabin completion and delivery center.
Beyond what I said about Mobile, Alabama, Tianjin has delivered 50 single-aisle aircraft. We have extended the agreement with our Chinese partners by another 10 years, so until 2025, and I'm sure we'll continue to extend it later. And we have also decided to open next to open next to our facility, a 320 facility, a cabin completion center for the wide bodies, starting with the A330. We will probably launch this investment with our Chinese partner next month, and we believe that we can complete it within 2017.
Later in the Q&A part of the press conference, Bregier discussed the importance of China, and when asked about the market there, his take on it was a bit different than what you might hear on CNBC or Bloomberg TV.
Angela Charlton from the Associated Press. How do you expect the Chinese economic slowdown to affect your outlook this year? And also, how is the production of China's CN19 being factored into your outlook for this year? Thank you.
What I can say is that we should not mix up the problems we can see on the financial markets and the real economy, especially the one regarding air transportation. What I can see is that the appetite of the Chinese customers, the opening of international transportation, especially towards the United States, with a new visa policy of 10 years for Chinese citizens, with building new airports, means that these airlines need more aircraft. And it's not by chance that we got 75 A330 CEOs orders from Chinese airlines together this year. So my assessment, and which is backed by John's assessment or group's assessment, is that we will continue to see a progression of deliveries of aircraft to China.
Still later in the program, in the question and answer section with journalists assembled in Paris, Bregier talks about China again and its effect on the larger Asian market, and of course he brings in the leasing companies as well.
Next question to Robert Wall, Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, good morning. Just a couple on just deliveries for 2016. What is your objective? How many planes do you deliver this year? On A350, what's your thinking about going beyond rate 10 in 2018? And then perhaps lastly, just Fabrice, you talked about China, but I was wondering if you could expand on that a bit, because the Chinese economy doesn't just affect demand in China, but it affects obviously other parts, particularly in Asia. And I'm wondering if your views are that you're equally confident that demand in Malaysia, Indonesia is not going to be impacted by what's happening in China and the commodity slowdown.
What was, sorry, your first question?
How many planes are you building this year?
Well, I think I said at least 650 planes. Okay, we'll deliver about the same number of long range, all in all, and we will increase the 320 deliveries. You take Asia. Look at what happens on the leasing market. We have a lot of Chinese groups who invest a lot in leasing, who take over American or European leasing bodies, who have a lot of liquidities, and they place these liquidities into the aircraft leasing market. So it's a sign, and very recently, I mean, so it's a sign that the vision you have that the share price dropped by 10 or 15% and everything collapses is in fact disconnected from at least what I call the real economy, which is that we have a population in China and in Southeast Asia who becomes part of the middle class and who wants to travel. There is a strong aspiration to travel, and traveling by plane is pretty cheap. So these are the two elements why we believe it will continue to grow.
And so that's the view from Airbus on its plans for 2016 and its events in Asia. Stay tuned to Asian Aviation Magazine. We will be bringing you the latest aviation news updates from the region. Coming up soon, of course, is the Singapore Air Show. We'll be there. We hope to see you there. And we're absolutely sure that lots of news is going to be made at the show. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Check us out. Check out our Twitter feed at Asian Aviation. And, of course, check back frequently on the website for the latest updates. That address is www.asianaviation.com. For Asian Aviation Magazine, I'm Matt Driscoll, reporting from Singapore.